Breeders, I have just as much freedom as you do. Hey everyone, welcome back to Childfree for Life. Don't forget to subscribe to be a for lifer. Honestly, I will never understand this. Has anyone else ever experienced this? Parents absolutely insisting that their lives haven't changed that much, almost trying to compete with you when you tell them that you're child-free. We move into our new home next month, and I'm making a travel board to hang in the living room. Pictures of all the places we've been together and some places we're hoping to get to next. My husband shared a picture of it with his friend while on a phone call, who mentioned that we seem to love to travel, and I said, yes, it's one of the reasons we don't have kids. And he goes, you can still travel with kids. My kids are my favorite travel buddies. Having a mini-me really enhances the experience. So whatever, good for you, dude. And I was going to let it go. And then it turned into a whole thing where he's going down the list of all the places they've been. Disney World, RV road trips. And I'm just smiling at my husband knowing that when we say travel, we mean 3 weeks hopping around Asia whenever we want. Both self-employed, not Disney on school break. Finally, I mentioned we prefer many experiences, business class, hotels, and certain restaurants that don't allow kids or that wouldn't be compatible with kids. And he's like, oh no, there's ways around it. But he seemed really determined to go toe-to-toe with us. Then finally, my quiet husband says it's not a vacation if you have to watch and dote on someone else 24/7. And that the extra money not used for bringing more people means nicer and more frequent trips. That shut his friend up. If you're happy with your life and the sacrifices required to be a parent, excellent for you. But stop acting like you have as much disposable time and money as those without. You don't. Ha. He says that because it's probably his poor wife taking care of the kids on his travels while he enjoys himself. I was also thinking that the fact that you think it's just as relaxing to travel with kids tells me that you're not watching them. I saw on an Instagram reel that followed one mother on her family vacation that she described as a vacation for them. For me, a business trip in a pretty location because she was still on duty. Honey, I'm packing my bags to show some child-free friends of ours we can travel wherever we want. His poor wife dealing with childcare for 2 weeks all by herself because he can't let this issue go. I could just imagine him angrily stomping through the streets of some foreign place as the kids whine and complain how bored they are and the food is icky and it's too hot. The mom, honey, please, let's just go home. This isn't working out. No. We came here to have a great time, and we shall have a great time. Yup, my husband and I experienced this too, especially with his cousin who has 2 toddlers. Whenever we're around his cousin chatting about the next trip abroad that we like to take, he talks about joining us, as if we want to spend vacation with his children. My husband nipped it in the bud recently, saying that we don't consider it vacation unless it's adults only. Just because you can put your kids on a plane doesn't mean you can still travel like before. People just don't get it. It's like us child-free people don't get something for ourselves. We aren't allowed to be tired or miserable because the breeders always say, you can't possibly be tired when you don't have kids. We can't have nice advantages because then it comes to this thing where they try to prove to you that you can still do those things with kids. I will never understand why people don't just accept that some of us simply don't want kids in our lives, that our minds are not going to be changed as child rearing and childbearing are huge life decisions. I was thinking this same thing. I think a lot of breeders have been fed this idea of having it all. Kids, a big house, a good job, fancy cars, travel, free time, good looks, etc. And have been let down by the reality that it's impossible to have it all. They're jaded and now think they deserve everything and then some. You absolutely can't have it all. I get annoyed with the travel thing as well. I like to take an adventure every few years and travel for a good 6 to 12 months. To me, that is freedom. I don't have commitments, so I have the luxury to be able to do this. It's not really the same thing as the annual family camping trip or Disneyland holiday. I mean, you can vacation or holiday, but you can't really go on an adventure. I guess it's hard to accept, especially if parenting hasn't lived up to expectations and a lot of other things are out of your reach. But any parent who says they have just as much freedom as someone child-free is either delusional or a negligent parent. We booked a last-minute trip to Europe at the end of the month. We'll be seeing 4 countries, so there will be lots of driving or flying during the trip. The cost of that adds up quick just for 2 people. Imagine how it would be if we had kids to tow around. Also, I wouldn't want to bring kids into art museums for hours. And they definitely wouldn't be able to tolerate walking 10 plus miles a day like we typically do when we visit Europe. People say that they can travel with kids, but not in the way that we like to do it. Regarding parents absolutely insisting that their lives haven't changed that much, what a load of crap. Our lives changed when we got lizards. We have to be home at a certain time to feed them. We can't go away on vacation for more than one night, so we can feed them before we leave and then when we come back, unless we were able to take them with us. Not many people are willing to babysit them. The ones we trusted no longer live near us. Everything we want to do, we have to make sure we can accommodate our pets. If I have to do that with them, then there is no way anyone can claim that they don't have to do that with children. I know! We've got one cat, just one, and I spend thousands on him annually. It costs extra to fly or take trains with him, and I have to find a reliable friend or pay a reliable sitter to watch over him when we leave. That can add up for 2 to 3 weeks. I also worry about him and what he'll do to my house when we're gone, and I miss him, which sometimes takes me out of my experience. I call serious BS on a child not doing that times 1,000. I just feel sad for the people who probably didn't think that Childfree was an option, forced themselves to have a kid when they didn't really want to, and now are convincing themselves that it's all good. I don't want to make assumptions, of course, as I don't know your husband's friend, but I know people who actively wanted kids and truly enjoy parenting. They admit that their options are limited and they have to make compromises. But since in their case, parenting brings them true joy, they are more than fine with it. People are different. Not everyone needs 3 weeks hopping around Asia, although I personally would definitely pick this. I do not understand why it has to be a direct comparison. It's not about better or worse. What is best for you is what makes you the happiest. But it's also ridiculous to insist that life is no different after kids. Most decent parents I know would admit that in a heartbeat. But these breeders seem so defensive. I think maybe some buyer's remorse? Yeah, it's exactly my point. Unfortunately, the disrespect can come from either side, and it's not okay. Obviously, life is different after having kids. Every reasonable parent, or even not a parent, will say that. What would the point of having children be if it changes nothing? It's all about how these changes make you feel. It's better to figure that out in advance since you can't just change your mind later as if nothing happened. My favorite Childfree moment of freedom was when my wife and I were binge watching the X-Men movies. Dark Phoenix had just come out and we just finished watching Apocalypse. We were both like, crap, let's see when Dark Phoenix is playing. One was showing in about 30 minutes at the local theater. Literally jumped into the car, bought tickets via the app on the way, and went to the movies. Made it in time for the previews. If you say that you can do that with kids, you're full of crap. That's awesome. You just can't endure that level of spontaneity when kids are involved. And you have to factor in diaper changes, nap times, tantrums, etc. Anyone who says otherwise is lying through their teeth. What you said about lack of spontaneity when you have kids is so true. I have a couple good friends, and our friendship survived when they had kids. Basically because they're good, conscientious parents who actually parent their kids. But I noticed they couldn't do anything without a lot of planning and stuff. All kinds of stuff. They brought so many bags and totes and coolers of all kinds of kid paraphernalia just to come to my pool club. I swear the Allies invaded on D-Day with less equipment than my friends brought for a day at the pool with their kids. And that was the case for anywhere they went. I can't imagine what it would be like taking a real vacation overseas with kids. Their paraphernalia would fill the plane. I mean, if you're wealthy like my sister, you just have to have an au pair who comes on vacation with you or watches them while you're away. She does all sorts of wild and interesting travel and even takes her kids on some of the non-resort trips. But for most people, this isn't an option. And this isn't a knock on her. She's a great mom and the au pairs have been great too. This is what rich people and celebrities do for sure. But you still have to pay those people to travel with you and watch the kids. Plus, you can't stay some places with kids. But this is the next best option.